Guess what? I'm Dave.
I'm Sean.
There you go. Barstools Bandtalk having this very special discussion this evening with an old friend of ours. We had him on the show about 8 months ago, I want to say.
Yep.
And he's involved with a very special event that's coming up here on the 6th of June, I believe. Why don't you bring him on, Sean?
Yeah, so this guy in Ontario needs no introduction. Really, across Canada, he's been part of our group from the get-go. He's a legend in Toronto. A few weeks back, and I'm going to say, close to a month ago, the music world lost a gentleman by the name of Phil Naro, who a lot of people will know him. If you're familiar with Tallis, that was Billy Sheehan's first band. Phil was the lead singer in that band. He sang with Peter Criss. He's an implanted Canadian. He's originally from Rochester, New York. He was very good friends with Junior. Unfortunately, lost a very hard-fought battle with cancer. Junior is hosting this Sunday, June 6th, I believe. That's the right date. A tribute to Phil. And we're going to talk to Junior Leclerc here, the legendary Junior Leclerc. Some of the names and the who's who in this thing is just going to blow you away. So without further ado, a big Barstools and Bandtalk welcome to Junior Leclerc.
There he is. It's Mr. Rockpile himself.
No, how are you, Dave?
Well, thank you.
Good. And who's that partner you have with you? Who is it?
The good one. The good one.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah.
That's
Thanks.
Jason Momoa.
Yes.
Jason
By the way,
Momoa.
I gotta say right off the bat, I'm not sure if you guys caught my last live feed show. I owe you guys kind of an apology, and I'll explain myself. It's funny, we talked before on the last show that we did about having so many things on your mind as you're doing this. So as I'm doing this, which led to a lot of the talk in regards to classic rock and all that. So you guys had seen recently, I think it was Sean, some good friends of mine in Barstool Confessions.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
So because they were on my slate to talk about, I couldn't get. And thanks to you guys. Dave went on for a sec there. I know he had checked it out, but I couldn't get the name of your show on there. So I owe you guys an apology.
All right.
Okay, we'll start calling you Senior. Start calling you Senior Leclerc instead.
That's okay.
All right, though, Junior. We're going to have Buck and the boys on very soon.
Yes.
Buck sent us some tunage, and wow, what a great tune that he sent me. They
Great
are
bunch of guys. Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah. So we're here to talk about, and you know, I in the intro I just did a little quick thing. Obviously, Phil passed away a few weeks back, and what we want to do here tonight is really plug this event that you're hosting, because you're going to have the who's who of some guys that he worked with and he was part of. But tell us a little bit about Phil Naro before you go into that, because you were very good friends with Phil.
I had known Phil since 1989, back in my radio days, and it was. I mentioned maybe before, I'm sorry, guys, because I've done actually recently a few more interviews in radio and so on. But what I'm referring to is, look at even, by the way, you guys, even your guys' band, but not to knock all of us that are say, and you guys that are great at your craft, but it does happen to us as musicians, whatever, that there's a band on stage and all of a sudden you just turn your head. And it is just like somebody's business. Sean, did you and Dave, I happened to post a recent live video of Phil Naro with his Ozone Baby doing some Zeppelin.
Yep, I saw it.
Now, need I say more? From that point, in all of us in our travels and whatnot, it was only now running into Phil Naro at indoor certain gigs, one being, of course, the Rock Pile and this type of thing. But we got to know each other on a personable level, very much so, in texting and talking and whatnot. And it led to, we had been doing, I think I said on your last show, a private invite only gig for those in the industry for about 15 years. And so Phil came up and he brought Enzo, his bass player, keyboard player, and also John Rogers, who was also in Brighton Rock.
Yes.
that worked with him. This tribute thing, I'm trying to figure how I can put this in there. Let's go to the event, and that'll explain kind of the after effect that's happened since, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the event. So, seeing how we're live on this now, I quickly mentioned that I had reached out to find out if I'm the guy to host this, because as I say, I'm very humble. And Jerry Finn came into mind again, and it was that sentence. If you guys recall, he's from the Killer Dwarfs, by the way, and Burton Cummings. But anyway, it was that humbly, guys, truly humbly. You guys are getting to know me. It was that, Junior, without you, there is no me. So in given this role of hosting this, I am so honored. And the reach out from stars, look at guys, I've been talking to people in Los Angeles, and it snowballed, guys, in regards to the people that have reached out for all of this. So to the actual event itself, and I'll tell you share some great stories that have gone along with it. We are having maybe a hiccup with only one part of this, simply because you guys would know that the things have changed in the States, musically speaking, more so in the rules than us. Mm-hmm. So within that, in talking with Billy Sheehan, there is a small chance that he may not make the date. All right. But of course, he's going to be making up for this time. That's also what happened to Ron Paul from Ron Rumblefoot as well, the guy that played for GNR and whatnot. And in these personable messages, guys, which were very personable, it was more so that if any, they really said, whatever you need, Junior, we will be there for this. So because the date in this example didn't work for Ron, he got a hold of me and he says, can we do something, asking, for God's sakes, he's the rock star, right? Can we do something on the 5th? And I said, absolutely. So that's the only date change is kind of what's going on. Now, everybody else on this, guys, has been because of the association, just like you guys on Barstools and Bandtalk. Jim Crean, I recall Phil and I talking that he was such a very close, one of the closest friends to Phil. They all kind of live in Rochester, New York area.
Right.
So check this out, guys. He's now reaching out to me, and he's not asking anything. Okay, I got to get that straight. He's thanking me for having this. And because I was talking to a friend, I just said, you know what? I said, Jim, it'd be my true honor if you would like to get on. Answer anything you need. Bottom line. Yeah. Mitch Perry. Same deal, guys. And I'm going to share more of this so that we can't get too caught up in this because of who these guys are. Mitch Perry, same deal. Talking to Steve Major, who was primarily with Phil in Ozone Baby, that video, that's the guitar player.
Okay.
All right. Michael Hunt, same deal. And of course, Steve Hogue, as you guys know, he's always been one of our main promoter at the Rock Pile. And it was getting feedback from all the professionals on where this has led. Now, I hope I'm not going on too long, because what I'm getting at is kind of where the snowball has indeed happened. Well, I have never met this gentleman, but my goodness, there's a message from Phil Naro's brother, Joe.
Oh, wow.
In the message was him once again thanking me respectfully so much for doing this. As one example, his ex, it's respectful, even his ex-wife. Okay, we shared on the phone, personable, of course, whatever, which is not to the public ear, but it all came down to, holy shit, guys, the snowball effect from the respect from the fans to the personable people. I mentioned John Rogers. You now got people that are And I had to do a posting that are asking, politely, I guess, why isn't so-and-so on there and why isn't, look at, somebody has passed away here. I know these people, some of that I spoke of, other than say Joe. You respect the space. You put what would we call it? When I talked to, in this case, John, here's his words, guys. Thank you so much for reaching out in regards to this. I don't want to quote him, but it really was in this line for him, because everybody deals with grief different. It's too soon.
Yeah.
So
we feel the time, Junior, and listen, I know that we're doing increments and going forward. So our friend Alex is going to let us know when we get close, but we're going to drop some more names to go along.
And you know what? I'm actually going to step in right now, Dave. We're about 2 minutes left of this segment. So if you guys want to have any closing remarks, and we'll save the rest for the next three.
Perfect. Well, it's a funny thing that, not funny thing, but we experienced the same thing ourselves, Junior. A very good friend of Sean and I has passed away last July. And it was funny because we kind of felt the responsibility, the duty, the obligation to pay homage to this gentleman. But at the same time, you didn't want to exploit his memory or for his family. It was a real tough time for me and Sean to say, listen, we have this. People are going to ask for it. We have to do it. And I felt strongly, but we shouldn't do a thing. It was too soon. But we did have a really nice vigil. We had, a few of his really close friends here. And so, you know what? I understand John's point of view. But at the same time, the majority of people need closure.
Yes.
It's an icon to them, right? And they need some closure. So good on you.
What makes it difficult as well is the main thing that we would be thinking of is the obvious. Is can you imagine what super group that we could have if we were allowed to do a gig?
Honest to God.
Yep. So it became, it's a little bit restricting as well. So yeah.
Right on. So we're gonna take a break. We're gonna pay some bills. We're gonna come back. I really want to back on the other side. I want you to talk a little bit about Phil. I never had the pleasure of meeting him. I actually almost met him a bunch of times, but I never had the pleasure of actually meeting him. So I like when we come back for you to kind of have our viewers help them get to know Phil. So we'll be back after this, guys.